It's basically spoon feeding the sum of all of our knowledge combined to our agents so that they can handle their customers quicker.
Eric, great to see you. Thank you for jumping on and doing this with me.
Yeah, no, it's a pleasure. It's great to see you as well, Mark.
So, would you mind introducing yourself, giving just your quick background and also the background of the company you work for?
Let me start with the company. It's got a little bit more brand awareness than I do myself. So I work for Staples Canada, and so Staples being a retailer that has a pretty high degree of brand recognition. We're with the Canadian version of it. I've been with the company for about 14 years, and I currently head up the services division, the service delivery component of our customer facing services division. So it's primarily within the tech support industry.
And Staples it's an iconic brand, and Staples Canada, of course, is an iconic brand, and everyone has kind of grown up with that brand. Could you talk a little bit about like changes in cloud and digital, and retail has gone so much toward technology? How the Staples Canada of today might be different and newer from the one of the past.
Yeah, I'd love to actually. It's you know what, our history, without going into the whole context of it, because we're going to need more time to do that. But the history of the company has primarily been an office supply retailer, right? And that was our bread and butter. That's what made us who we are. It's even in the name, Staples, right? And so that's where we got that brand recognition that I was speaking to. We've held that identity for a number of years. But the world is changing, as we know. The landscape's changing, the market, the technological advancements, and therefore our customer needs. And I would say, like I said, I've been with the company for about 14 years. I would say, the latter half of that even has been incredibly exciting as the company's been focused on reinventing itself and transforming to our evolving customer needs. That's not an easy feat because the customer needs today are different than the customer needs yesterday, especially, in the world we live in now with AI integrations and whatnot. But we call ourselves the working and learning company. And so we are there to partner with our customers and to help them achieve their goals. That's the focus. A lot of that has to do with technology nowadays, let's face it. Our dependency as humans on technology isn't going away. It's just going to increase. So for us to position ourselves as partners for our customers, technology takes the leading space in that. And for those listening or watching, if they haven't been to one of our stores recently, I strongly encourage them to revisit them. They a complete different look and feel, a complete different purpose. It's really exciting. It's changing every day.
That's so cool. Honestly, it reminds me of the other day I was listening to a podcast on all of Warren Buffett's shareholder letters, and they were going through decades of shareholder letters of Warren Buffett. And one of the things he talks about is look for businesses and industries where the need that they're solving is something that is timeless, where it's not something that's a need you have today, but it might go away next year. And when you describe the working and learning company, I was like, that is a timeless set of needs. I think people will be working and learning for quite some time.
So we don't want to exclusively focus on the future because our customers have needs here today, right? And so that's the timeless bit of it. It's now and forever. We're confident that we did a good job of that yesterday, let's say. But now and forever, how do we continue to adapt and evolve as their needs do? I actually heard, to pull out some quotes, and I'm going to butcher this, but at a conference, there was a statement about just to tie it to this AI wave of technology, and effectively it was something along the lines of when this steamroller is headed down this path, you have the choice to be a part of the steamroller. If you're not the steamroller, you're the road. And again, I'm sure that can be articulated a lot better than I just did, but that concept is the case. It's the customers have needs to be met, and it's up to us to position ourselves to meet them.
Yeah, I think it's a great analogy. Be the steamroller.
Yeah, or be the road and get steamrolled, right? I choose the former. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about a steamroller that you guys have been able to introduce into your business. So could you talk a little bit about what problems you are trying to solve with Balto today, or the ones that brought you to Balto, kind of how you were formulating what you wanted to get done with bringing Balto on?
If I can I give a little bit of context on our operation first? I think it'll help. So the service delivery component, our primary product within my team's portfolio is a program called TechEasy, and it's a technical support subscription that our customers are paying us for. Consider it a membership. They're paying us to provide them with support, and that support's delivered through a contact center environment. And the reason that that's so important is, first of all, it's membership based. So customer experience matters. We want them to retain. They have an option. They can break up with us if they choose to. We'd be devastated, but they can. But it's up to us to provide them with value, right? And value is really the comparison of benefits versus price. And so we're constantly looking to tweak that formula to make sure that we're still in our customers' best interest. The other side of that, though, being that it's a tech support membership, that's actually what they're paying us for. That's where we're a little bit different than traditional contact centers, I'll say. Contact center is our method of delivery, but where we're unique is that the phone call itself, that's actually the product we're selling. There's no, well, there's technology hopefully that they're buying from our retail stores as well. But in this particular use case, it's that phone call, that customer experience. That's the promise that we're selling, and that's why they're paying. And so it's of our critical importance to provide the best possible customer experience that we can, because we want to retain them, of course, right? I think our team for the last 4 years since this program's inception has done a very good job at, I'll say, working harder, not smarter, and and in scaling up along with the demands and in meeting the demands of the customers. We've gotten to a point where we've achieved industry-leading customer experience levels, so we're very, very proud of that. But we've now reached a point of diminishing returns, right? Throwing more bodies at it isn't always the best solution. It's not the most scalable solution, of course, as we know. And just like any company that's investing in their product and research and development, we want to continuously improve. How do we do that now? And when I say diminishing returns, it's like our level of effort is high. Our people are operating at redline. You can only operate an engine at redline for so long with high occupancy rates. And so despite us being comfortable with our positioning today, we've got some ambitious goals to scale and how do we do that efficiently? How do we do that? I would say even more than efficiently, it's seamlessly with while insulating the customer experience that we've worked so hard to build. One of the inefficiencies is baked in basically to our business model. It's average handle time. These are not 6-minute calls, and we don't really want them to be either, because customer satisfaction levels, our primary demographic right now is seniors, and we don't want them to feel rushed. So we get to a point where there's a fine balance. It's, do we want to improve efficiency? Of course. Do we want to lower handle time? Well, yes, but not if it comes at the sacrifice of customer satisfaction levels. And that's a complex issue to solve, right? When we have handle times upwards of 30-40 minutes, it's how do we protect the meat and potatoes, and maybe how do we trim the rest off, right? And that's where I think Balto has really, really come in to help. It's in, I would rather protect the meat and potatoes and cut out, if we're going to lower handle time, I'd rather cut out hold time or ACW work. And that's, that's Balto's bread and butter. I'm using all these food analogies. I'm starting to get hungry, but that's really the primary, I would say, issues that we're looking to solve. But I put an asterisk on that too, because I don't think it's just about issues and solving issues, but it's about also just optimizing what you're already good at, right? And kind of taking a more proactive approach to it, not waiting for something to be broken to fix it.
I love the journey you just painted. Let me read it back for you what I heard. I heard, first things first, you get your service level in a great spot. You got to make sure you're managing your queues properly and that you're not having these customers who are relying on you for their product, for support, abandoning, in the queue. So step one, get your service level in great shape. And then two, you're, of course, in order to do that, going to need to ask for a lot from your team. So you're going to kind of have occupancy levels boosted to, whatever the highest reasonable level it is. And if you're pushing a little bit hard, that can be okay in the short term, but you can't do that forever. So then now, as you're scaling the program, you need to kind of alleviate some of that stress that high occupancy level is putting on the team, and also look for low-hanging fruit to be able to help them be more efficient and reduce the handle time without that being a reduction in customer experience. It's not about reducing handle time by rushing the person off the phone. It's by helping the agent be more efficient, reduce holds, reduce things like after call work, the stuff that no one's going to miss. And then
Yeah.
from there, it's optimization. And you're seeing it as a way to say, now we have these things that agents are doing very well and are very good at. Can we lean into those things and optimize around what makes our product and our people special?
Yeah, you said it in a lot less words than I did. So that's that, but you articulated that quite well, for sure.
Luckily, I had the second at bat, so you got to go first.
Yeah, that's
Um,
fair.
what specific ways are you using Balto to reduce handle time? Can you maybe try to make it vivid, like give an example of some specific thing you've set up to do that? And then maybe can you talk about when you're thinking about optimization, what exactly are you trying to optimize, and how would you like Balto to help you with that?
Handle time, like I said, it's protecting the meat and potatoes. So it's taking the core elements of that discussion, of that interaction that we're having with customers that they clearly value, and it's in trimming everything on the outsides and in between. So to give something concrete, after call work is the low hanging fruit, right? Historically, we were providing agents with a target of 3 minutes after call. And in our world, because the note requirements are pretty in depth, 3 minutes was even a stretch target. We weren't achieving it. That's a fully automated process now. And so just that on its own, the customer doesn't feel it at all. Zero. The customer's already off the phone by the time that happens, right? But just in automating that feature through Balto, that saves us over 3 minutes per interaction. You scale that out, and that is significant. How does that translate to the customer? Well, first of all, we have better notes to service our customer next time. Not just do we have better notes that are generated by AI, but we have a transcript of the entire call. But then beyond that, it gets our agents back in queue sooner, so it has an impact on speed of answer as well. And that's the flip of a switch. That's not a gradual build, right? As soon as we launch that, then we reap the benefits of that. It's hold time as well. So hold time, how many times do we call our various contact centers, and as soon as a curveball is thrown, the agent's got to put you on hold to research the answer in some sort of knowledge base. But now that's at our agent's fingertips. The calls that we get are very dynamic. And so there's a lot of troubleshooting involved, right? And sometimes that troubleshooting to get to the next step, there's some delays, not on hold, but with the customer present. But there's some delays and some choppiness to get from one step of the call to the next. And those are drastically reduced now as well, because we've got live prompts to our agents that are popping up, and it's basically spoon feeding the sum of all of our knowledge combined to our agents so that they can handle their customers quicker, right? So the main opportunities that I spoke to are in increasing efficiency or lowering handle time, but also how do we optimize CX, and it does both of them. It's the same solution.
And one of the things I think that's so cool, Eric, is you kind of pulled out that there's uh it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. There's a feedback loop where when you reduce the after call work and you reduce the hold time, then the agent's able to get back into queue quicker, which is allowing you to hit the service levels with like less stress on your occupancy rate. And it's really cool that they kind of feed each other, and that all of that, results in a customer who's getting the answers they want faster. That's one of the things that I think, the CX world has had a lot of kind of twists and turns over the last few years. and there was, one kind of maybe movement, if you will, around like, creating delight for customers. Folks were very much encouraged to like, kind of chit chat with customers and try to like, wow them in the experience. And there's absolutely benefit to that. But I think that maybe the CX world moved too far there and moved away from, wait, how quickly can you get them the answers that they want?
Yeah.
Um, so, I really like that the way you guys are setting up the program allows them to do both. It allows them to make sure the customer is taking their time, but the agent doesn't need to take more time than they need because they have the answers right there, spoon fed to them.
There's less focus on us entertaining the customer, so to speak, to try to win them over. And we win them over by delivering on what we promised we'd deliver and doing that in the most efficient manner and respecting their time as well as ours. And in that respect, if they want us to slow down and take the time with them, well, look, we can afford to do that now because we've just made up so much time elsewhere. Right. And so if that's what the customers want from us, then yeah, let's be available to do that. It's leveraging our talent where our customers need and want them to the most, right? And that again, that's the key differentiator here is that every business or contact center is obviously going to want to achieve the maximum rate of efficiency for sure. But it's the hedgehog is in doing it in a way that not only um, uh, protects the customer experiences, but actually optimizes it at the same
Yeah.
time. That's a win-win, right? So I feel really good about that. And I'd like to just on while we're on this topic, Mark, just I want to bring it up as well. But another one of the issues that I forgot to call out is with regards to talent acquisition and retention. I think everybody can speak to that. To the it's a challenging world out there as recruiters and our team is a pretty large team and we do face high turnover rates and so we're always looking, we're always hiring, but because of the nature of our business, it's a tough talent profile to hire for. We're shopping for language skills because we've got two national languages in Canada. We're shopping for obviously customer service skills. We're shopping for technical skills. You find one associate that has all of that, you want to hold on for dear life, right? They're tough to find, but they're also tough to maintain because they're extremely marketable, right? That's a heavy skill set, and we obviously want them to flourish. So that brings on a whole new set of challenges. And with a tool like Balto, what it's allowed us to do is lower those bars a little bit, and because they have an aid, right? They've got I'll use the term co-pilot beside them. That's helping them navigate this challenging world. So some of those skill requirements can now be taught as opposed to acquired because we have this tool to help us with it. And so and not to mention the retention side of it, right? The amount of stress and pressure that it takes off the associate's shoulders absolutely only helps with as it pertains to engagement and therefore retention. And so there's a whole other side of it that isn't as easily measured on a scorecard, right? But or on a P&L, let's say, but it's there, and I think the level of impact from Balto, it extends far beyond the traditional contact center KPIs that we would normally measure.
That's so huge. And if you're able to have a more optimized talent pool, that is a competitive business advantage. That's not just a contact center efficiency. That's the sort of thing that compounds and over time sets one business apart from another.
And again, how does that reach the customer? Well, look, when we face turnover and we have challenges with acquiring, that's when call centers typically put up the message of we're currently experiencing higher than normal wait times. And so that absolutely gets lessened, right? Wait times get improved, and the peaks and valleys that normally come with growing a contact center operation, those are lessened dramatically as a result of it.
Can you talk a little bit about what you guys have done to earn buy-in from the agents and if you've had any challenges getting agents excited, or if they just gravitated right to it.
For sure. That's a great point to mention. And I actually I have to give a call out to your team for that because they were tremendously helpful, and I'll expand on that. But look, we do annual engagement surveys with our team, and we're looking at what their most satisfied elements of the job are that we can continue to protect and invest in, but also get some feedback, some constructive feedback that we can build on. And from an agent experience perspective, this is just as much about agent experience as it is customer experience, because we know that they're directly correlated. Agent experience is what drives customer experience, and so it makes no sense to have one to try to sacrifice one for the other, because it's not going to work that way. And we knew that going into it, and so prior to to deploying Balto, my leadership team and I had some pretty in-depth conversations about, hey, if we put ourselves in our agent's shoes, how are they feeling because of this? Does this actually improve their
Spot
lives,
on.
or will it be taken the wrong, will it go in the wrong direction? You can't forget about your team. It's the team's the one doing the work. They're the ones that are helping the customers. It's so we've got to start with them. And you know what, if you go into it with that as a guiding principle, and you're relentless in that pursuit, I think you'll achieve it. And we genuinely believe that this would be a tool for our team. We know, we've heard their feedback that, hey, this is high velocity work. It's a very broad portfolio, in the sense that they're servicing customers about one thing on one call and then completely pivot to the next. So it's a high degree of learning. There's a lot of pressure. They need help. They need something. They need some sort of tool to assist them. And so that's really what this was. And that's what it was from the onset. The customer experience benefits that we've spoken to thus far in this conversation, those were almost the secondary benefits. But it's the agent ones first. But what really helped us is, number one, is our team genuinely believed that going into it. It's not something that we're just saying because it sounds fluffy, right? And we can try to sell it to our associates. If it's not in the best interest of our associates, why would we ever do it? That's our team. If you genuinely believe it and you're going into it with that legitimate mindset, then they will take notice. And as part of the deployment, as we were working with your team to set it up, they were our mentors and coaches. It's obviously not their first rodeo, and they've made that quite clear through some of the advice and guidance, because I think we would have got a few things wrong in terms of how we deployed it. They had recommended that we start pretty much, don't over define the playbooks per se. Start slow, let them get used to it from a change management perspective, and they really helped mentor us throughout that process. We built this up as a hype campaign for our team. And your team had actually really helped. I think you've seen the photo we had as we were having training calls with all of our team. They all got Balto hats that they were wearing, and we sent them these hype boxes to their homes. They're all remote, and they got a bunch of candy and whatnot for it, and so they were all on the calls wearing the Balto hats, and they were super excited to launch, and it was just great to see. And so right out of the gates, agent adoption rates were just not an issue. They were excited for this, and didn't see it as a spyware tool or as Big Brother's watching, right? Because that's not the goal. We all want to succeed. We want them to do the best they can. We want to celebrate success with them. And so if it does have an element of Big Brother to it, it's to catch people doing things right, and to reward them. And I know Balto's got some great tools for that too. I love the confetti on the screen that it blows up. I'm like a kid every time I see it. I get all giggly.
That's awesome. That's seriously beautiful. And it's funny because in our sales process, when we're talking to new potential customers, our sales folks actually have two qualification criteria in the background. They have a bunch, but there's two kind of cultural criteria. And one is is the customer viewing this as an enablement empowerment tool, or are they viewing it as a stick and as a big brother?
Uh,
And if they're kind of talking about like a stick or a big brother, we teach our sales team to challenge that. And if the customer is like, no, 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 I'm so excited to buy this big stick to whack all my agents with, that we say, sorry, it's not, you're not quite seeing it the way we're trying to build it, so it's not going to be the right fit. What do you think, Eric, has been different or special about partnering with Balto?
I think you folks have done a great job at being true business partners to us. And that's really what we've been interested in, is not a vendor, a business partner. Let's achieve our goals together. And by kind of acting as both thought partners, but just general business partners to achieve that. And what I had just described, both in helping with the launch campaign and whatnot, is evidence of that. But it's even in the actual setup of the solution itself. Your team didn't give us a fish, they taught us how to fish. So we got our initial playbooks set up, but then we also walked away with the skills and knowledge and the ability to continue to optimize and to continue to expand our utilization of the solution on our own, right? And in an easy fashion. And that just empowers us to, and it alleviated pressure from having to get it right the first time. Because let's face it, with any new launch, there's going to be learnings, there's going to be discoveries, there's going to be optimizations, at least there should. And we really feel empowered to do it, but to do it with a safety net where if we accidentally do break it, we know your team's a call away. Um and it just has genuinely feel like that partnership. It's not the traditional, which and in my opinion heavily flawed relationship dynamic where both parties are holding their cards close to their chest and they're playing this
Yeah.
weird poker. That it's like, hey, look, we want to succeed and we want you to succeed, because if you're succeeding, we're succeeding, vice versa. And I just think that the relationship has been incredibly strong thus far, where those cards were not held close to the chest at all. And that's what a true partnership's the foundation that a true partnership's based on. So I commend you and your team for that dynamic. And that's what absolutely keeps us interested and motivated to continue to work together.
Eric, the Balto team has been so proud to partner with Staples Canada, has loved working with you and your team, and we're excited about the future. We're continuing to build awesome stuff, and we know that as we take our newest, most innovative features and are looking for customers that can, in a safe and reliable way, kind of package up those features and get the most out of them and give us feedback as they come onto the market, that Staples Canada can be one of those partners with us. So thank you for everything, and thank you for this interview today. Excited for the future because it's already been great. It's going to get even greater.
I totally agree, Mark, and I appreciate the sentiment. I throw it right back at you. We are equally as excited. You know what? I'm even going to go on a stretch and say a little bit more excited, probably, because I'm just like, hey, what are you guys up to next? What's going to happen now? What's Balto going to give us next? And just because the solutions that you deploy, I think they'll add value across the board, and so. We're really excited as you folks continue to innovate and develop, and that in turn will help us. It takes that responsibility and burden off our plates, and because we know we've got a solid partner that's focused on that. So thank you to you and your team for that.
You rock. Thanks again.